This is the study of geography, and these are the branches of geography: physical geography, human geography, and practical geography. These are among the few topics that we look at when we study geography. We look at industrialization, we look at forestry, we look at tea plantations, maize plantations, brick making industry, among many others.
Yes, hello learners. We are looking into our next lesson, that is Geography Form 2, Lesson 8. And we are talking about folding. We are soon coming to the end of the topic of folding. I'm sure it was very interesting. And we are talking about the fold mountain building periods. We saw various mountains on the Earth's surface, and all these mountains are not of the same age. Just like human beings, you have grandparents, we have parents, we have children, we have all those. And we are not of the same age. So even the fold mountains on the Earth's surface, there are those ones which are much older, there are those ones which are of middle age, and there are those ones which are very young. And so we have what we call the fold mountain building periods. That's what we are going to look into. So we look at, there are four main periods, and they have been brought forward by people that we call geologists. Geologists are people who deal with rocks. They study the nature of the rocks, the structure of the rocks, the age of the rocks, the composition, the chemical composition, the physical composition of rocks. It is just a branch of geography. And we saw that geology is very important because it helps geography to understand the chemical composition of rocks and soil. Now here, these geologists, they have said that we have periods on the Earth, on the history of the Earth, that are very active in the fold mountain building. And there are those sessions that the Earth is quiet and calm and there are no fold mountains that are being formed. And these periods, we call them orogens. A period is called an orogen during the time when fold mountain activities are very active. And then now the process, the whole process of the compression of forces being subjected on a land, and they cause the land to fold up and down, is what we call an orogenesis. So an orogen is a period, and an orogenesis is a process of fold mountain formation. Very good. So we have four periods. We have the Charnian from Charnian orogen, Charnian orogen, CHA. Then this is the oldest period. It happened about 600 million years ago. You see, how old are you? You are just 13 years old. Yes? That is not even a fraction. You see, we just live up to about 100 years if we can try. And you see, we are talking about rocks and mountains being here for the last 600 million years. These fold mountains are very old, and they were formed, they were very high or very tall fold mountains during that time, but they have been subjected to the forces of denudation. There is erosion, there is weathering, there is mass wasting. All those, they have reduced the mountains to become mere flatlands on the Earth's surface. You cannot believe it. Everything is purely flat, just like a flat land. And that was a high, very high mountain long time ago, 600 million years ago. A good example is what we called, they were formed during the Precambrian period. The historians can understand that when we talk about Precambrian period. And we have the Laurentian Shield in Canada. That is one of the very good examples of the fold mountains. They are just flat lands, so you cannot even suspect that they were high one time. Then we have the second one that we call the Caledonian Origin. Caledonian is Caledonian origin. This is the second one, and it occurred about 440 million years ago. So between 600 and 440, there was a period where there was no fold mountain formation. That one is a quiet period. So that one was one period when mountains were actively being formed at 600 million years ago, and we have at 440 million years ago another second period, which we call the Caledonian. This one, the mountains were also very tall, but they have been reduced to mere hills and what? And highlands. So the highlands and the hills that you see around, do not look down upon them. Those ones have been here for 440 million years. And so they have seen all the people. They saw your great-great-great-grandfathers, and now you are here, and still they are there, you see. So they have been reduced by the forces of denudation. And we have the Scandinavian hills and the Aquapine hills in Ghana, and the Scandinavian hills. Those are the good examples. Then we go to the third period, and that is the Hercynian. Hercynian is Hercynian period. That is the third period, and it occurred about 350 million years ago. And the mountains that were built were very tall and very high, and they are still high and tall, even up to date, because that is almost recent. That is almost halfway, the first period, which occurred 600 million years ago. These ones, we have the Appalachians. We saw the Appalachians. These ones, they were formed 350 million years ago. Yes, that is one of the good examples. We have the Cape Ranges in South Africa. They were formed 350 million years ago, 350 million years ago. Those are the examples that we have, and they are still tall. You know, they attract rainfall, they are good, they are still fold mountains. They have not been removed by the denudation processes. Then finally, we have the Alpine Origin. This is ALPINE, just like the Alps in Europe. So this is the youngest period of fold mountain building. It occurred recently, very recent, about 35 to 70 million years ago. Very recent. The mountains are still very tall. So we have the Alps, we have the Rockies, we have the Rockies are here in America and Canada. We have the Alps in Europe. We have the Himalayas. These are the very young mountains, and they are still tall. They have not even been affected by much weathering. They are still resisting the forces of denudation. So, and even they are believed that the building is still continuing. They are still rising in their size. And therefore, that one has brought us to the end of the periods of mountain building. I have talked about 4. We have the Shanian, we have the Caledonian, we have the Hercynian, and we have the Alpine Origin. The origins are the periods, and the orogenesis is the process of fold mountain formation. Of course, you will be asked to differentiate between an origin and an orogenesis. You are clever. This one you just say an origin is a period of fold mountain formation, and an orogenesis is what? Is the process. Good. Let us move then we have been talking about folding. Is this folding of any economic importance to us? So we talk about the significance of folding to human activities. Of course, everything good is from these mountains. So the folding is the one that leads to the formation of fold mountains. That is what we saw. And the fold mountains are tall, an exalted land that is very tall, and that one attracts tourists. People from other lands, they come to see it. And when they come, they bring in their foreign currency, you know, that is bringing in money. So folding leads to the formation of fold mountains, which attracts tourists. So that tourism is a human activity that has been brought about by folding, because it is folding that led to the formation of the fold mountains. Number two, the folding is the one that makes the fold mountains. And these fold mountains, they form barriers. They form war barriers, you know, when they are protective areas. When we have enemies coming to attack, and then we have very steep parts of what? Of the land. You know, the fold mountains have got steep slopes. Escarpments are there. So when we have these parts, they may be scaring to the enemy. The enemy may not be able to escape. So it makes the people to say that that land you may not be able to escape. The owners will find you, and they will you don't know where the pass is to pass and run away, you know. If there is a land that is badly rugged, you know, you may not be able to know where to escape to. So they form areas of protection, and that is good. Then we also have the folding leads to the formation of fold mountains, which attract relief rainfall. And this relief rainfall, which leads to the growth of thick trees and thick forests. And then we have man exploiting the trees or the forests, which are very useful in building and construction industry and paper industry. You know, trees are good. Folding is also important because it leads to the formation of fold mountains, which form very suitable areas for settlement on the windward side of the mountain. They are conducive weather conditions, and therefore we are going to have settlement, the human activity there. Now when man settles there, then he will do cultivation. The fold mountains also, which have been caused by folding, will lead to the formation of rivers because of the heavy rain which is falling there on top of the mountain. And these rivers, they will lead to the formation they will provide water for irrigation, provide water for homes and industries. So you see, those are some of the human activities. And of course, the rivers, again, you can separate that one, and you talk about the generation of hydroelectric power, generation of electricity as a human activity, because the rivers are being formed from the top of the fold mountains. Good. Folding may also expose minerals, and these minerals may lead to a human activity that we called mining. So that is it. It may also have some negative effects, like on the leeward side of the mountain, it may discourage settlement, and it may also discourage agricultural activities because of the cold weather conditions and the dry weather conditions. Then we also have sometimes the fold mountains may be very steep, and they may discourage the construction of roads and the construction of transport lines. So folding may also be negative in that sense. That is the end of our lesson. Thank you.
Continue watching this YouTube channel where you will get more similar content to help you during your study in high school, and kindly share so that your friends can get the same kind of content and be helped in their study as well. Thank you. Have a nice time.